Armed terror suspect captured at Zambia illegal gold mine. Military raid exposed an illegal gold mine deep in Zambia. Armed security forces moving in. And a suspect authorities say may be linked to one of Africa's deadliest extremist groups. What exactly did Zambia Army commandos uncover in Mufumbwe, and why has this operation raised serious national and regional security questions? Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of InspirAfrica Official. I'm Nakash. Well, it's been quite a week across the continent, hasn't it? We've seen developments that remind us just how complex the challenges facing African nations truly are. But today, we're diving into a story that's been sending shockwaves through Zambia and beyond. Picture this: deep in the rugged terrain of Zambia's Copperbelt province, beneath the scorching African sun, lies a network of illegal mining operations, a shadow economy worth millions. For months, locals whispered about armed men controlling these illicit sites. Men who weren't just criminals seeking quick riches, but individuals with connections to something far more sinister. Something that would make your blood run cold. What happens when the pursuit of illegal wealth intersects with international terrorism? When the glitter of stolen gold finances networks of violence that span continents? How did a military raid on what appeared to be just another illegal mining operation uncover a suspect with alleged terror connections? Who was protecting these operations, and how deep does this conspiracy really go? Imagine the soldiers approaching through the bush, their intelligence suggesting they'd find illegal miners, only to discover weapons, fortifications, and an individual whose background would trigger international alarm bells. What was this suspect planning? How many others are out there, using Africa's vast mineral wealth to fund operations that threaten not just one nation, but the entire region's stability? And here's the question that should concern every African citizen: if this happened in Zambia, how many other illegal mining sites across the continent are being used as cover for far more dangerous activities? How long has this been happening under our noses? Factual foundation. The revelation came to light on the morning of January 18, 2026, when Zambian defense forces, acting on intelligence gathered over several weeks, descended upon an illegal gold mining site approximately 75 kilometers northwest of Kitwe, in the Copperbelt province. The operation began at dawn, 5:47 a.m. local time, to be precise. According to military sources, the Zambian defense forces had been monitoring unusual activity at this particular site for nearly 3 weeks. Unlike typical illegal mining operations, which usually involve small groups of desperate individuals seeking to make ends meet, this site showed signs of organization, discipline, and most concerningly, armed security. The initial suspicion arose in late December 2025, when local traditional leaders reported to district officials that foreigners had been seen in the area, and that locals attempting to approach the mining site had been turned away, sometimes at gunpoint. One village headman, who requested anonymity, informed the mines ministry that these weren't ordinary illegal miners. By early January, satellite surveillance and ground reconnaissance confirmed the presence of what appeared to be a fortified mining operation. There were guard posts, communication equipment, and vehicles coming and going at odd hours. The National Intelligence Service was brought in, and cross-referencing of vehicle registration numbers and intercepted communications revealed concerning patterns. On January 15, a joint operational meeting between the Zambian Defense Forces, police, and intelligence services authorized a coordinated raid. The mission was designated Operation Golden Shield. 73 military personnel, supported by specialized units, were mobilized. The actual raid occurred 3 days later. As military vehicles approached the site from 3 different directions, there was initial resistance. Warning shots were fired, though no casualties resulted. Within 40 minutes, the site was secured. What they found was staggering: industrial-scale mining equipment worth an estimated $2.3 million, stockpiles of gold ore, and a cache of weapons including AK-47 rifles, handguns, and ammunition. But the most significant discovery was the apprehension of a 34-year-old male suspect, whose identity documents revealed he had entered Zambia 3 months earlier on a visitor's visa. Preliminary background checks connected him to watchlists maintained by international security agencies. His name, which were withholding pending formal charges, appeared in databases related to suspected terror financing networks operating across East and Southern Africa. During the initial interrogation, conducted at a secure military facility in Dola, the suspects' responses raised more questions than they answered. Transcripts obtained by journalists reveal the following exchange. Interrogator: how long have you been operating at this site? Suspect: I was just working. I was hired to work. Interrogator: hired by whom? Who owns this operation? Suspect: I don't know his real name. We just called him boss. He would come maybe once, twice a month. Interrogator: where did the gold go? Who were you selling to? Suspect: look, I was just doing security, you know? I wasn't involved in the selling part. Interrogator: security? With military-grade weapons? These aren't hunting rifles we found. Suspect: long pause, there are dangerous people in this area. Criminals. We needed protection. But it was during the technical forensic examination of communications devices seized at the site that investigators struck gold, metaphorically speaking. Lieutenant Colonel James Mwamba, spokesperson for the Zambian Defense Forces, addressed the media on January 21. During our operation, we recovered multiple mobile phones, a satellite communication device, and a laptop computer. The preliminary forensic analysis of these devices has revealed communications that extend beyond simple illegal mining coordination. We have found evidence of financial transactions, coded language consistent with operational security protocols used by criminal and terror networks, and communications with individuals in at least 4 other African countries and 2 Middle Eastern nations. When pressed for specifics, Lieutenant Colonel Mwamba continued. I cannot divulge all the details as this is an ongoing investigation. But I can say this, the patterns we're seeing, the routing of funds, the encryption methods, the compartmentalized communication structure, these are not the hallmarks of ordinary criminals. These are sophisticated operations. We are working with international partners, including Interpol and regional intelligence agencies, to fully map out this network. A senior intelligence official, speaking on condition of anonymity, was more blunt. Look, what we've uncovered here is a classic example of how terror-related networks exploit weak regulatory enforcement in the extractive sector. Gold is portable, valuable, easy to smuggle, and can be laundered through legitimate markets relatively easily. So, you have these groups, whether they're ideologically motivated terrorists or just criminal organizations with terror links. They find remote mining sites, they set up operations using local labor and foreign technical expertise, and they generate revenue streams that are very difficult to track. This suspect? He's probably mid-level. Important enough to be trusted with site security and operational coordination, but not at the top of the chain. The real question is, who is at the top? Perhaps most chilling was a partial transcript from the suspect's phone, translated from Arabic by military linguists. Unknown contact, the shipment needs to move before month end. Suspect, understood. Same route as before? Unknown contact, no. They're watching the eastern corridor. Use the southern alternative. Confirm when secure. Suspect, will confirm. What about the additional equipment? Unknown contact, it's being arranged. Focus on your primary responsibility. The project continues. When confronted with this exchange during a second interrogation session, the suspect's demeanor changed noticeably. Interrogator, what project were you discussing? Suspect, no response. Interrogator, what was being shipped? Where was it going? Suspect, I want a lawyer. I'm not saying anything more. Interrogator, you understand that non-cooperation in a matter of national security. Suspect, I said I want a lawyer. I know my rights. Deeper analysis. The implications of this discovery ripple far beyond one illegal mining site in rural Zambia. Security analysts across the continent are now asking uncomfortable questions about the vulnerability of Africa's extractive industries to exploitation by criminal and terror networks. Dr. Chimuka Fairai, a security studies professor at the University of Zambia, contextualized the threat. For years, we've focused on the economic impact of illegal mining. Lost government revenue, environmental degradation, exploitation of workers. And these are serious issues. But what this case demonstrates is that illegal mining can also pose direct national security threats. When you have ungoverned spaces, and make no mistake, these remote mining areas are essentially ungoverned, they become havens for all sorts of illicit activities. Drug trafficking, human smuggling, arms dealing, and yes, terror financing. The political reaction has been swift and, unsurprisingly, contentious. The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, government has emphasized its robust security response. Minister of Home Affairs Jack Muyimbu stated at a press conference, "This operation demonstrates that the UPND government takes national security seriously. We will not allow Zambian territory to be used as a base for criminal or terrorist activities. Our security forces are well equipped and well trained, and this successful raid proves it." However, opposition parties have raised questions about how such an operation could have been established in the first place. Fred Membe, leader of the Socialist Party, didn't mince words. "This is a government failure. How does a terror-linked mining operation run for months, possibly years, without detection? Where was our intelligence? Where was the Ministry of Mines? Where were the police?" This only came to light because local people raised the alarm, not because our security apparatus was doing its job. We need accountability, not just congratulations. Legal experts are also grappling with complex jurisdictional questions. Attorney Mwiza Chamba, specializing in international criminal law, explained, "If this suspect has connections to international terror networks, Zambia may face requests for extradition from other countries where crimes were committed. We also have obligations under various international counter-terrorism conventions. The legal process here could become very complicated, very quickly. And there's the question of the other individuals involved, the so-called boss and others in the network. Are they Zambian? Foreign? Where are they now?" The environmental angle cannot be ignored either. The illegal mining site caused significant damage to local waterways and vegetation. Environmental activists argue that this case illustrates how security concerns and environmental protection are interconnected. Then there's the regional dimension. Zambia shares borders with 8 countries. Porous borders and limited resources for border security mean that criminal networks can operate across multiple jurisdictions with relative ease. The Southern African Development Community, SADC, has been working on enhanced security cooperation, but implementation has been uneven. Intelligence sharing remains a challenge. While organizations like the Eastern and Southern Africa Anti-Money Laundering Group exist, real-time operational intelligence sharing between member states is still developing. This case may serve as a catalyst for improved regional coordination, or it may simply fade from headlines as the investigation drags on. There's also an unresolved question about the local community's role. Were local workers merely desperate individuals seeking employment, or were some complicit in the broader operation? How do you prosecute someone who took a job at what they might have genuinely believed was just an illegal gold mine, not a terror-linked enterprise? The line between victim and accomplice can be disturbingly thin. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of InspirAfrica Official. This story is still developing, and as more information becomes available, you can be certain we'll bring it to you. I want to hear from you in the comments section below. What do you think needs to happen next? Should Zambia strengthen regulations in the mining sector? Do we need better regional cooperation to combat these transnational threats? And what about the communities living near these illegal operations? How do we protect them while also ensuring security? These are complex questions without easy answers, but they're conversations we need to have. Africa's mineral wealth should be a blessing for our people, not a resource exploited by criminals and terrorists. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories from across the continent, stories of challenges, yes, but also of resilience, innovation, and hope. Until then, I'm Nakash. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay inspired.